The Ethereum bulls appear to be regaining control from the Ethereum bears, but are we about to see a little bit of a dip from a pattern that's emerging in the charts right now? If we are, where's it going to take us to? And if not, where can we head back up to the upside? Guys, make sure you stick around to the end of the video to see price targets as well. And welcome to the House of Crypto. I make videos on Ethereum as well as other cryptocurrencies. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you smash up that subscribe button to be kept up to date with all of the latest happening in the markets. And please just take a second of your time to smash that like button as well, because it really helps me to deliver content like this. Without further ado then, let's take a look at the Ethereum chart for today. So guys, what we saw yesterday, we saw us come back down and take another touch on the top line of this pattern. In turn, Bitcoin was doing something similar on its chart, and I did say that if it held support here that it would be pushing back to the upside. Now, what I'm also looking at, which is something that we should be paying attention to, is this pattern that's actually emerging, a smaller pattern within this bigger kind of descending wedge pattern, which is something we should be paying attention to. Now, this is actually a bit more of a bearish pattern. However, it doesn't always break to the downside. So actually what we have seen is actually it dipped, and notice how when it came down and it touched this bottom level here, it did also pretty much fall in the apex between these two levels here, which obviously shows that there's a potentially good area of support. But what we're seeing right this second is on the daily chart a struggle perhaps to get above this level at around the $2,320 level. So something very interesting is playing out there, and we'll look at price targets there as well as something that is extremely exciting in terms of a bullish price target slightly later on. Now I want to quickly jump over to the Bitcoin chart, because something very interesting is happening both with Bitcoin and the US dollar. And if we can look back to this sort of area around the sort of 22nd of February, we start to climb, and we had the all-time high on the 15th of April. And since the 15th of April, we've been coming down to sort of lows around the 20th of May. So keeping those dates in mind, let's jump over. Okay, so looking at the US dollar on the 1-day chart. Now, obviously, we're seeing a slightly different chart pattern, but we did sort of say around the 20th of May was when we saw Bitcoin take that drop. And notice that the DXY was going down when Bitcoin was kind of on the way up. Okay, so it's kind of almost doing the opposite. But actually, when we hit this bottom at around the sort of 24th of May on the DXY, we then saw a swift recovery. We saw the DXY heading from around 89 all the way back up to 92. And this is pretty much in line with how Bitcoin and Ethereum and the rest of the crypto market took a big fall. But what we have here that could be an extremely exciting thing is I've drawn here a descending wedge pattern. Now, obviously, what we're paying attention to is this big W pattern. And if this was to break out and be able to push back above the sort of $93 level and see a huge climb from there, then that would be a particularly perhaps bad thing, particularly bearish thing for crypto. However, what you can see is we've come up and we've had this touch on this line, which has been consistent for quite a period of time. We've got perhaps a shoulder here. We might see another shoulder before perhaps seeing another decline back down to around the 89 level. And if that happens, then things are looking very bright, in my opinion, for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the rest of the cryptocurrency market. So jumping back to the Ethereum chart on the 4-hour chart, taking a Fibonacci retracement from the top a few weeks back to the bottom swing low here, we can see that if we can zoom in down over here, we can see that we came up today and we had the perfect touch on the 0.238, on the 0.236. And I said yesterday that we could potentially see a bit of resistance playing out here, but we did just take pretty much a bit of a dip down in the last couple of hours or so, all the way down to this level around the 2276, and now we are starting to push back up towards the upside. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. If this is able to hit and cross above here, what we could potentially see is coming back to the top of this wedge and maybe flipping this into support before moving back towards these sort of higher levels, $2,700, and then potentially back up towards $3,000, etc. But what's so crucial about maintaining at this level and being able to maintain ourselves above this orange pattern, because at the moment, while we're still above that level, we still have this pattern in play, which means that technically if we are able to continue on this breakout, this would take us back up to this level of $3,628. But if we are to move back down this line, if we are to move back down below this line, that technically will be a fake out, and then we can potentially see ourselves dropping down. And if we were to take a drop out the bottom of this, then obviously then we're looking down at a target something like $333. However, in my opinion, I think that is very unlikely. I think what it would mean is that this pattern would be void, and we would probably move on to create sort of more patterns, etc. So in my opinion, as long as we remain above this key line, as I mentioned yesterday, that's where we see the most strength coming from Ethereum. So it'll be key to see what happens with this candle that we're currently looking at right now on the 4 hour. If this candle is able to close above this line here at around the 2340 mark, even ideally above kind of these highs or recent highs here that have been put in the last couple of days or so, then that's where our most bullish position will come from. Something else that's kind of interesting to look at as well is we've got kind of a bit of a shoulder pattern here, again ahead, and perhaps sort of another shoulder pattern here playing out across this level here. So actually, if this does come in line with this sort of line up here, so it could be interesting to see whether we are going to break that, and then again that will continue to push us sort of further up. As I mentioned, guys, there's been a lot of buying and selling over the last sort of months or so happening in this area here. So it's not going to be necessarily a smooth ride to be able to blast through it. However, comparing that to where we were a few months ago, where we had this kind of similar pattern and we were around this level, once we got above this level, there was nothing above us. Okay, so there was no kind of existing data which allows us to blast off very quickly. So I think it would be nice to think that we are going to blast off and go flying up to sort of all-time highs, but I think it's going to take us quite some time perhaps to be able to get out and get back above the all-time highs level. However, personally feeling quite confident about the potential that Ethereum is showing, particularly more confident than maybe we were feeling maybe last week, etc. Guys, if you've enjoyed today's video and got some value out of it, please smash that like button. It helps me more than you know. And if you're not already subscribed and you want to subscribe to be kept up to date with all of the latest Ethereum news as well as other cryptocurrency news, then make sure you smash that subscribe button. And I will do my best at the moment. As things are starting to heat up, I'm going to start trying to bring 2 videos a day on Ethereum as well as other cryptos. So make sure you subscribe to be kept up to date with all of that. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will see you again tomorrow with another video. Bye-bye.